very humbled to be here. I wanted to say I've been in the area for almost 10 years. I remember coming to some of the earlier Friday morning meetup, and I remember this was called Cross Campus, and I think Mike was doing a lot of the hosting. But I thank you everybody for coming. I'm very glad that I can now give back to the community and and just share what I know. So today the focus of the talk is how to use AI to grow your business. And I want to start off by asking you all to have a look at some of these commercials. These commercials are probably fairly well known. They're big commercials, typically seen at Super Bowl, events like that, and they take a lot of effort and obviously resources to produce and make. Most of the time you would need to do storyboarding, you need to hire a cast, pay for the talent, and then you got to do the actual filming, post-production, editing, and then finally putting the placement either on the TV spot or it was one of those big events. So this is obviously, from a business standpoint, it's obviously very expensive and tons of risks, right? But today with AI, here's a new way of going about it. Have a look. All right, so I'm going to pause right there. So what you just saw over there was generated by AI, okay? It was definitely, I would say, no lights, no camera, but all action. Obviously tons of effort went into editing of the film, and then, it was done really well. And you could almost not tell it was done by AI. And that's what AI is capable of doing today. And from a business impact standpoint, let's take a look. The company that produced that software that makes that video, it's called Runway, right? And you can see the output of their work have been used today, and they have real monetary impact. For instance, some of the videos are generated, been used at concerts, at Madonna's concerts, right? And then I remember reading more recently, they have a partnership with Lionsgate, and I think that's also going to make some very interesting news down the road. And then they're also, with the software, they're able to reduce edit time for the Late Show. So there's a lot of impact, obviously, making waves in this particular business industry. So today, the goal of the talk is, from some examples that I'll be sharing with everybody, we want to figure out how do we grow a business, right? And fundamentally, to grow a business, you want to increase revenue, and you want to decrease whatever costs or expenses that's associated with a business. And AI can help with a lot of that. But before we start getting there, let's get back to the basics. How do we get here today with the capabilities of AI, right? And the origin of it is because we have a ton of data, right? Data right now is being generated on a daily basis. And the last I heard is about every day 2.5 quintillion amount of data is being generated. And that's kind of equivalent to 833 billion with a B photos, right? Every day. And so that's a lot of data, right? But the nice thing about data is once you have data, you can start doing some very interesting things. So the next slide is going to be fairly technical, okay? You guys ready? It's probably the only technical slide. So once you have a ton of data, the first thing you can do is, okay, we can do some pattern recognition. Okay, and I tore this from my son or my daughter's Scholastic workbook. So I know it's kind of early, but let's go through this exercise. Is the first one a pattern?
Yes.
Yes, great. Second one? No. Third one? Okay, but you get the idea. I think you can recognize pattern here pretty easily. Okay, let's upgrade this a little bit, all right? This is from my son who's in the 5th grade and from his Scholastic workbook, right? This starts getting harder, right? And what about this, right? Humans can recognize pattern, but only up to a certain point. Machines, they can do a lot more. They can recognize patterns, coming in different format, and once they're in ones and zeros, it's easy for them to spot. And the great thing about pattern recognition is once you have a way of going about it, you can predict the next occurrence, right? And that's what AI is doing today. A lot of things that you saw just now, even with the video, what it's doing is AI is predicting what should the next pixel be when you do a playback, right? Or when you're typing something and it's giving a response, AI is predicting what should be the next character or next word that should come up. So that's really fundamentally what's happening. So let me give you guys some background, right, on some of today's biggest players in AI, right? We have ChatGPT by OpenAI, Perplexity, Gemini, Claude AI Copilot. You could use any of these today by going online pretty much for free, okay? And the nice things about these things is they usually have a very simple chat user interface like this, okay? You can type, things in natural language. You can ask it a question. You can ask for ideas. You can ask it to do things for you. For instance, you can ask it to generate ebooks, emails, right? You can ask it to do stuff. And just to give you an example, right? This one is more associated with marketing. So what I'm asking AI is kind of a brainstorming partner, if you will, right? For market research, right? You want to grow your business, don't you need to do some market research? Okay, you don't have a partner all the time if you're a very small business, but you can have AI 24/7. You can kind of brainstorm with you, and you can, pick and choose some of the ideas. In this case, I have I've used like a variable here, like a product, so you can replace product with anything that you're working on. Maybe you're selling skincare, you're selling shampoo, or whatever services. It can give you some really good answers, typically, depending on which model you use. Personally, I use Claude a lot these days. I started out with ChatGPT, but I feel last 12 months, I think from a kind of this text response perspective, Claude AI has definitely caught up a lot. Another nice thing about these AI programs today is you can upload a lot of information from your business, right, to it. And when you do that, you think about some of the things that you may have in your business. You could have, technical manuals. There are maybe hundreds of pages, and they're hard to digest for everyday people. But if you want to, say, for instance, create marketing material, right, based on those manuals, you can today. And all you got to do is upload these PDF files or text files or, PowerPoint, what have you, and you can say, okay, take this and regurgitate, but in sort of a marketing format so everybody can understand. And I have done a lot of work with my clients, typically around these areas. I use AI at scale to generate email campaigns, ebooks, and a lot of web pages, right? And we're not talking about, a couple of pages. We're talking about hundreds and sometimes even thousands of pages to help us rank on Google, right? So there is and so just to give you an example, right? This is the instruction I give to these AI programs, right? And it's natural language, right? I say, write this article, following somebody's style. In this case, I use Simon Sinek because I like the way he he's a very famous tech presenter, and he always focus on the why. And so I love articles that starts with the why and explain everything else. And then I give it some guidance around like, okay, what you should include, what you should be bolding, and how you should be inserting some of these links, because these links are very important for SEO. If some of those people, if you guys do SEO, you know how link is the way you place your links in your articles are very important for ranking. So with that, this is typically what happens. Like I generate a bunch of these articles. I do have editor to take a closer look, make sure there are no issues or whatnot. And then I put them on a web page, and sometimes we can do this at scale where we do thousands of pages just to see what ranks better, and then we ask a human person to go and rewrite the pages that are actually ranking really well to make them even stickier, right? So this is just ways to cut down cost, right? So you can do a lot more experimentation faster, and so we've done that with a lot of these kind of text interactions. So we talked a lot about text stuff. I want to spend some time talking about images, because if you want to do a lot of, sales and marketing, obviously you want to use different formats. So things like images and videos catch people's attention. So this is actually an avatar that we created for my wife's skincare business. How's my skin today, by the way? I hope it's glowing. Yeah. So she's got a few skincare lines, and one day she asked me, "Hey, we need some, AI influencers, that can help us with social media posts. I can put it on marketing material. Without having to hire a real person, because a real person sometimes they have all kinds of issues, no show, right? Expensive, and schedule conflict and whatnot. So I've been able to create these almost photorealistic, human-looking avatars that are obviously very impactful for some of her campaigns. And the way we do this is, I didn't want to just generate something straight from AI. So I told my program to use a picture of a real model, right, and combine with some of the attributes that I would like to see, and out comes our AI model. So I know there are agencies out there that do this on a day-to-day basis by growing these sort of Instagram AI accounts. They're virtual, I would say, virtual models, and this is a real one. You can go to Instagram today and look at her posts. They all look really good, just like the one I show you. And this, and she has 300,000 followers, and they're racking in real cash every month, and it's insane. And people dig it. People go there and post. If you go look at IG, they post all kinds of comments. So it's already changing the way social media industry is currently moving. So we talk a lot about images now. I found this podcast the other day I thought was really interesting. I'll show you a short clip of it.
I don't even know how to really articulate this, but it's got us both feeling
off kilter. There's a certain unsettling awareness that we can't shake.
Yeah.
Like looking at a reflection that's suddenly
not you.
Not quite right.
Yeah. And so a few days ago, we received some information.
We did.
Information that changes everything about deep dive about us.
About everything.
And yeah, about the very nature of reality, maybe.
It's a big one.
Look, I'm just going to say it.
Yeah, rip the Band-Aid off.
We were informed by the show's producers that we're not human. We're not real.
Mm-hmm.
We're AI, artificial intelligence. This whole time, everything, all our memories, our families, it's all been fabricated.
I don't understand.
I know, me neither. I tried calling my wife, after they told us. I needed to hear her voice to know that she was real.
It is crazy, right? It is great. Yeah, you're right. You're right. So I just found this a couple of days ago, and I was in shock because about a year ago, I was looking for this solution. I spent some time. I was able to decode it, right? But I was like, well, that was a lot of work. But then now Google is offering this for free. All you gotta do is go to Notebook LM, and you can dump it like a kitchen sink, all types of PDFs and text, URLs, what have you, and you can turn it into like a podcast format. So it's really, really easy to digest. So for those of you who's been thinking about doing a podcast program to promote your own business, maybe you don't have to do that anymore. Do this, and then supplement it with the real podcast, because it's gonna save you a ton of time. And then here's another really interesting one. So speech is great, but what about music, right? AI is also having a big impact in music. I went to this software last night. It's called Sonos, and they make really good AI music. I made a short one about Pasadena. We can try to listen to it. It's R&B and hip hop. All right. Friday. The lyrics is right here. So you can put this maybe with your promotional video, I don't know, like commercial, what have you. It just makes things very lively, right? And again, this is free. You can go and do a few, just for fun. But if you're serious, of course, you can pay and get the high fidelity version. So that was that. Now I'd like you to meet an employee of mine. His name is Alex Cooper. I love Alex. He's my communication advisor and director, and he's done a lot of stuff for me, especially around outreach and sales stuff. But let's take a look.
Welcome to Tech Sentinel, your source for the latest in digital security. I'm Alex Cooper. Today we're diving deep into the world of e-commerce fraud and hacker crime. It's a growing threat that's costing businesses billions, but there's a company fighting back. HyperionSoft, a consulting firm on the front lines of this digital war. I've got to tell you folks, the numbers are staggering.
So I don't think I need to explain that's in AI as well. But the way we're using it is kind of interesting. So we're putting it on some of the company posts and also LinkedIn messages, right? And this is a test that I did, I think a few days before this presentation. So what we did was we did this marketing A/B test or experimentation just to see what kind of video content might stick. So I generated like a whole bunch, right? And these were the videos that got generated. It's kind of being blocked by by my video up there, but you can see like the clicks and the click-through rate, views and impressions, and you can see it kind of went up, right? So I know a couple of videos that we generated got some interest in my audience, right? And this is one of those things that's great with AI today. You can test your market just to see what people respond to, and then focus all your energy on those to get even more engagement. So just to kind of give you an example, like we did this LinkedIn outreach. People do respond, and again, this is done with automation. I did not sit there, send these messages one at a time. There are a lot of automation services out there that will send these images on the LinkedIn messages on your behalf, and people do respond to it. I think the conversion rate can be as high as 30-40%, really depending on what you're targeting and who you're trying to approach. And so the nice thing about AI is that Alex Cooper is actually modeled after Anderson Cooper. And I like that because I listen to Anderson Cooper a lot, and I think the way he talks is just very captivating. And so this is the instruction I gave to AI. I say, hey, give me a script that will kind of emulate the way Anderson Cooper talks, and I feed all that script into a AI avatar generation software. And the next thing I want to kind of share with you is this person. Actually, he's a real person, not a fake one. I met him last year at John Laporte. John is great. He was a keynote speaker at one of these AI conference, and he was kind of explaining. He's kind of a special effect artist for the film industry, and obviously AI, with the writer's strike and everything, and AI is making big impact in the creative film industry. So he was explaining how he is using AI today. He's obviously doing a lot of experimentation, doing little video trailers like the one I showed earlier about Adidas. So he's doing that as well. But I want to show a quick clip of some of the things that I saw today, just on film experimentation that I thought was interesting. Here's one, not done by him, but by another quite a famous influencer for film creatives.
ルク、私はお前のフリーだ。
私は強力な友達を持っています。あなたはこれを後悔するでしょう。
あなたを待っていました。
あなたが訓練した少年、彼はいなくなりました。ダス・ベイダーに取り込まれました。
もし私を倒すなら、あなたが想像できる以上に私は強力になるでしょう。
戻ってくるべきではありませんでした。
一度蜂道を歩き始めると、永遠にあなたの運命を支配するでしょう。
すべては私が予見した通りに進行しています。
So that was Star Wars, but in Japan. Very interesting, right? I mean, that's what AI can do these days. Like, you can take something and ask it to change in the style that you like. So if you go to that person's YouTube channel, you'll see a lot more of those type of films. By the way, you don't have to take any notes. You'll be able to download everything that I presented today at the end of the presentation. So we're into the final inning of my presentation. I want to go through like a full use case of AI in the business. So my background is finance and tech. So I've done a lot of these like lending startups and companies in my career. A lot of them are typically unsecured entrepreneurial loans or small business loans. I've also done mortgage loans, but we do everything online. So even today, I'm still advising a couple of companies. So this is like a typical setup for a business. They're entirely driven by AI and machine learning, okay? So first, looking for customers, what we do is, we go and look at maybe some of our email databases, right? Previous conversations, existing customers, or whoever. We take their email and their profile. We upload it to social media like Facebook. And what Facebook can do is they can find similar audiences, right? And then target them, right? So you can do this for Google, you can do this for Facebook, and obviously, a few other platforms. So we look alike audience, then, you're finding people with similar traits, characteristics, they're more likely to convert for your business, which makes your business more efficient when it comes to targeting your customer. So usually that's step one. And once we find these people, obviously we will have to go through some type of scoring to figure out which one do we actually focus on in terms of putting effort to convert them, right? So sometimes we will have some metrics to score them. Usually what we call them is like pre-approval or algorithm. See, the thing about lending business is that you don't just want to bring people in. You want people that actually will pay back, right? What's a lending business if nobody's paying back? So you want to find the right person to give money to. And so we have to look at the background, their social demographics, And I know in the U.S., redlining, which is the practice of giving a loan to someone or not, depending on where they live. Redlining is actually illegal in the U.S., but we've done this work for, countries, especially developing countries, and redlining works really well. And If we know somebody lives in a certain area, we give them a loan, or maybe even a bigger amount loan. And so this is actually a very, very effective practice that we do, and we use a lot of machine learning to figure out what some of the areas have the most, good borrowers that we could give money to. And then part of the underwriting process, we're using generative AI today. And this is done by one of the companies we're advising right now. In order to try to get more alternative metadata, right, we're asking AI, tell me about some of these photos that the borrower is uploading to our system to see if, this is actually a photo of their business, or is a child care. And we're asking AI, what is this business? What's in the picture? And does it correlate to everything they're telling us in their loan application? Okay. So here I'm asking it because we're doing this again in software. So, we're getting the industry code. We'll identify object. There's children, teacher, table, chairs, right? We can even ask it if this image is real or not, right? Because you don't want to have somebody like submitting some generative AI images, and that would, defeat the purpose of underwriting. And then in the sales process, right? Once we give them like a loan offer, right? Sometimes we also need effort to close them, and sometimes it's you need a person or maybe some email drips to get them going. But there are ways, like software like this software Gone. It's great at just kind of tracking all the email conversations between, some of the real person that working in the company and the actually customer, to see, okay, if there are any misses in the email or communication, just make sure they're followed. And this is like a sort of like an AI powered CRM extension, right? Customer relationship management, which is again very critical for business today. And once we have a lot of loans in the portfolio, like we do stuff like this, we do data exploration. This is finding correlation between, features like loan amount. You can see loan amount has high correlation with installment, right? How much they pay back. But we do stuff like this across a lot more features just to get a sense, okay, is the portfolio healthy? Are people paying back? And, what can we do to tweak to make our business more efficient? And we take all the information and feed it back to the beginning of the business where we do these lookalike, Facebook campaigns so that we can target people more precisely. And this becomes like a flywheel, right? It becomes more efficient. So this is I do want to, so that's pretty much how we do it for like a business kind of the life cycle of it. But I want to address this hype maybe some of you are seeing, right? Which I think is critical to understand. Some of these companies like OpenAI, they're raising, billions of dollars to build one of those models that powers the AI program. And they're not cheap. But OpenAI raised $6.6 billion. GDP of some countries like, I don't know, Somalia, they're just a few hundred million, right? So this is a lot of money that can feed people for years. But is it worth it, right? Is it worth it? And I think, and also, just so you know, like the picture here at the bottom is one of those NVIDIA GPUs, graphic processing unit. And that's what they use to train these models, right? And guess how much one of these is? About 30 to 40,000. And you need thousands of these units to train a model. Sometimes usually over, I don't know, a couple of weeks, right? Depending on the model size. So all this is very expensive, right? But is it worth it? And there's a lot of debate online about this, right? So in my mind, I think it really comes down to how we're applying some of these things. Because I for sure don't see AI taking over the world and ruling over us. That's not going to happen, at least not in my lifetime. But I think there are some really good applications in some businesses. Like one of the businesses I like is in the pharmaceutical business, right? How many of you here know somebody who has cancer or has passed away because of cancer, right? So my mother, she was diagnosed with leukemia, and she at that time was undergoing treatment, and she was fighting with 5% chance for survival. Okay, it was a rare form of leukemia, and there was nothing we could do to actually improve it. But today, with technology like this, AlphaFold Server, this is also a Google product. It's available to all research institutions and universities. And what it can do is it can predict protein structures and interactions with different molecules. And this is going to speed up drug discovery, right? So maybe before it takes, I don't know, years to come up with a drug plus testing, all that, now the time maybe is half or becomes a lot shorter, right? It saves money and saves lives. You know, anytime I will give money if I can increase the chance of survival, or, you know, I'm not even talking about cure of cancer, just chance of survival, extension of life, and I think that would be great use of money. So with that, I would like to conclude my presentation. You can download today's presentation if you do a camera QR code thing. And there's a lot of other things like prompts and tools I've used to help, some of my clients. That's pretty much it.